This space, the original Zoes Cafe space, right before we went into it was a nightclub. I think it was called Club Dreams or The Spot. But yeah, we just started walking around the space and dreaming what this could be in terms of kind of our downtown campus. We had a couple different heartbeats for that. One was to launch a congregation out of it. Another was to launch kind of a missional business out of it.
What Zoes is now is very different than what it was even a year ago. You know, obviously 10 years ago, it's extremely different than what it was.
It's a platform that embraces change, so it's always willing to change with the overall goal of being a space for community. And so whatever that needs to look like, that's kind of what Zoes is able to shift into.
You can't influence without relationships, and leadership really is your influence on people in one way, shape, or form. So the different divisions that Zoes has branched out into has really connected different parts of this community that we call home.
I had someone who was trying to sell advertising for us to be in like a magazine. It was for like kind of Denver area, things like that. They're, promoting events, and they're like, oh, well, we could get you a different clientele. And I said, well, that's not what we're looking for. We're here to serve the clientele of Greeley, the people of Greeley, and meet them here.
We don't measure success how most businesses would by how many cups of coffee are we selling and looking at a profit margin per se, but it's more, are we creating a space that people feel that they belong, that they're accepted for who they are, that they are loved and wanted. And I think that that's what this space becomes to people, is that they walk through the doors, and that's the hope of what we want people to experience in Greeley.
Christ Community never set out to say, we're going to do this in 10 years. We had no idea. And there was caution, and there was risk, and there was, and those aren't negative. Those are naturally, we want to be good stewards in that whole process. But we would have never imagined the depth of where we are in 10 years. There's just this incubated idea of like, hey, let's do a downtown worshiping community with a video, and then do a coffee shop, to now we have 3 divisions and a partnership with all these nonprofits, and we have a catering, and we have a food truck, and we're at all of these Greeley events, and we're all, nobody would have known that.
In that, I don't know, it's been a resource that we've continually tried to give it back to this community best we can. So a lot of connections with nonprofits and trying to help them be successful.
I love being able to tell people when they're coming in for a tour and they see the wall, they see the names, and they're like, well, what is all this? And for me to share, hey, we are, we're offering space, open office space, or, these are the partnerships we have because we're wanting to make an impact in the things that they do, and people love to hear about it. They think it's just an amazing idea, and some are like, well, how can I get office space here? That kind of stuff, talk to Phil. But
those organizations are already operating on their own. They don't need Zoes per se, but there's a mutual benefit to being together, because the partnerships are strategic, but they're strategic because they're relational. The people that run them are amazing people, and they're so connected to this underlying heartbeat of how we can make Greeley better and really influence Greeley.
When Zoes, the cafe, got started, we really wanted a social, ethical consumer approach to how we did business. And so we started with this idea of direct trade coffee. That's an industry standard. And what God did is he created what we call now a relationally traded coffee. So our communities are connecting with this community in Villa Rica.
We have a very consistent relationship with Skyping, emails, occasional trips down to our coffee farm in Peru.
It's been a very special story for Zoes Cafe.
With all the different visionary people behind Zoes, they're willing to try new things, take risks, but I think it's always going to revolve around the general heartbeat of Zoes, which is for the community, for connection, for belonging.
Just hope to see our reach as far as that this is a place where Jesus dwells, and that people can sense that presence here. In the midst of their parties or whatever. I don't know, that there's just a peace and a comfort that they can feel here.
Zoes has been a really fun thing to do. Didn't even know if it actually would work because we want this to be a place that the entire community really can say is their place.
I've had plenty of people that are not connected to Zoes, that I know of at least, that say, what is different about this place? And that's the opportunity to say why. But I'm okay if they never do, because I still think that presence permeates where I go, because he's in me, and he's in our baristas, and he's in our leadership, and he's in our staff. And the more that we just be who we are, the more this place will permeate with that fragrance.